everyone, today I am going to do a tag video. Now I saw two different people doing two different tags that were very similar and I decided to squish them together and do one tag out of it. So the first person I saw doing this tag was Kaylee Weasley, and she said it was created by Kaylee Booty. I've never heard of her, I'll have to look her up. And the other person I saw doing a tag very similar was Rachel Stephanie, and she called it Evaluating My Eyeshadow Palette Collection tag, and that was her tag that she made up. But a lot of the questions were, a lot of the questions were very similar, so I kind of squished them together and missed out the ones that were double ups, and right at the end I added a question of my own. So this is the palette tag questions. I don't know what to call it because I've mushed around two different tags. So I will link all this information down below. I'll link Kaylee and the other Kaylee and Rachel's channels in the description box if you want to go and check these out. So question 1. What was the first ever eyeshadow palette you brought or owned? It was they're different questions for me. The first ever eyeshadow palette I owned, I don't have anymore because I had it when I was 16 and I don't really remember it, but I do know it was in sort of neutrals and pinks because it was bought for me because I was bridesmaid at my brother's wedding when I was 16, and that was my very first makeup that I got, and so that was the first time I'd got all my own makeup, and I got that little palette to go with it. It wasn't a very big one, it was just little, had pinks and neutrals, browns in it, and so that was the very first palette I ever had. The very first palette I brought, I don't have that one anymore either because I decluttered it beginning of last year because it was like, this is really old now. It was similar, wasn't the same as, but it was similar to my Beauty 101 palette in that it had lots of different colours in it. It didn't have the face products in it, it just had lots of different colours, but it was all shimmer. And I had that palette for years and years and years and years and years and years. So that was my very first palette. But I didn't buy hardly any makeup apart from replacing things that I'd used up for a long time until maybe not last year, the year before. So 2017 I started buying a bit of makeup, and the first palette that I brought was actually a neutral matte palette. So it was my BYS matte palette, so that I had something to support all the shimmers in the other palette, which I have since decluttered. Number 2. Which palette do you use the most? Not pan that palette. Now this is a really difficult one. Before I started panning that palette, I probably could have answered this one quite easily, but I can't answer it now that I've started doing Pan My Palette. And I started doing Pan My Palette middle of last year. So now I use my Pan My Palette, and I've got two different ones because I've got my Beauty 101 and I've got my Nudes 4 from BYS. And then I do a Pan My Palette partner, so whatever palette that I choose out of my stash, I'm pointing behind me because that's where it lives, I use my Pan That palette as a supporting palette for whatever palette. So say if I was using the Aha Honey palette, which I put on my eyes now, and I wanted to pull in another colour, the first place I would go would be here. But if I didn't have Pan My Palette, what one would be my most used? I don't know. I can't answer that question because I've got so many other palettes since I started doing the Project Pan stuff that I'm really not sure. Number 3, what's your no-fail palette? So if I want to do a look and I'm in a hurry and I'm not counting my Pan That palettes because I know those really well now because I've been using them for 6 months. And if I'm not counting those as a quick go-to look, then the next palette that I would go to for a no-fail look, I just know the colours well enough and I know how they perform. To do a quick look would be my Revolution Soft X palette. And I really enjoy this palette. And it's got neutrals in there, but it's also got enough colour to play around with to make an interesting look as well. Number 4 is if you had to get rid of one palette right now, which one would it be and why? So I had a look through my stash and I decided it would be I Heart Revolution Galactic palette. I will take it out of the box because it's way too shiny. It looks like quite a fun, interesting palette when you first see it, but then when you actually study it, there is a lot of brown in there and a lot of quite dark browns as well. Brown and pink basically. There's one pop of blue there, but it's nothing to write home about. There's a kind of a gold, but it doesn't really do that much. So if I was going to declutter anything right now, if I had to declutter anything right now, this would be the one that I would declutter. Number 5. What palette inspires you the most? Now, I had to think about this one, and I decided I don't have one particular palette that inspires me most. At the moment, what inspires me most are colour stories. And the colour stories that are inspiring me most at the moment are the Colourpop colour ones. I've got 3. So I've got It's My Pleasure, which I can't open. So I've got the purple one, and I've got the blue one, and I've got the yellow one. And these inspire me most at the moment because I often think, okay, I want to do a blue look, and then I would have to go through all my palettes to find blue eyeshadow and figure out what look I'm doing. Now I can just go to my blue palette, figure out what colour blue I want to use, and then pull in other colours to go with it. So for me, these little coloured ones are inspiring me the most at the moment. Will they be inspiring me the most this time next year? I don't know. It could be something completely different that inspires me next year, but at the moment, that's what's inspiring me. Number 6. One palette that makes you happy to look at. So I had to think about this one too. There's so many of these questions that I had to really think about. I couldn't just do this off the top of my head because I'd be standing in front of my shelf staring at it for ages and you'd have lots of blank video space where I was trying to figure out what palette makes me happy. This palette makes me happy. And yes, it is a big palette. This is what it looks like. Why does it make me happy? Because if you take off all these neutrals here, it's just lots of beautiful colours that all go really nicely together. I don't look at any of these colours and go, yuck, I don't like that. I like all the colours in there. So when I'm thinking about shadows that I love, and because I love sticking my fingers in these, this beautiful orange, look at that, and oops, my palettes on my microphone there, but the most beautiful red that I have in my collection. It's just got some really beautiful colours in it, and I like all of them, and I look at it and it makes me happy. Now, I brought this palette for my daughter, and I just kept borrowing it off her, so I ended up buying my own. So my daughter and I both have the same palette now. Number 7, do you have a deep emotional attachment to any palette? Which one and why? I don't really have a deep emotional attachment to any makeup, but if I had to choose one, there is one that stands out as making me think of somebody, and that would be my Dubious Place Tribe palette, because one of my lovely friends here on YouTube sent me this, Kaylee Wesley, and so every time I look at this I think of her, and I think of how sweet she was to think of me and buy me this palette, because we did a makeup swap box. So at the moment, this one has the most sentimental value in my collection. Number 8. Which palette is the biggest surprise to you? Better or worse than what you thought it would be? So the palette that surprised me, that turned out better than I thought it would be, is my Revolution Makeup Obsessions Dream with a Vision palette. Now this one turned out to be a surprise to me because I've used Makeup Revolution before, but this palette, which looks like this, the formula was especially good in this palette. I really enjoyed the formula in this palette. So this one turned out to be a surprise, a nice surprise. Now, I'm going to do both the best and the worst for this one. So I've used quite a lot of BYS palettes, and when I brought this one I thought, oh yay, I'll have a matte colour for every colour I need to use. This one was a disappointment because it's just not very pigmented, and you really have to work quite hard to build up the colours. So the other BYS palettes that I have all worked really well. This one did not work so well, so this one was a disappointment. I have since learnt that some BYS palettes are great and some aren't so great, so you've got to pick and choose. Number 9. Do you have a palette that you never reach for? Which one and why? I do. Before I started buying some stuff online, we didn't have a lot of choice in store, and the Revolution stand had brought in the Tammy X palette. Sorry, Tammy. But I never reached for this palette. I've swatched a couple of colours. I don't think I've actually ever used any on my eyes. I never think of using it because I haven't really tried it, and it just doesn't really do a lot for me. So that's a bit sad. I still want to try it one day, but I never think to reach for it. And then number 10 is, which palette was your biggest waste of money? This one is a Chi Chi palette as well, same size as the other one. This is the Iconic Timeless Beauty. The quality of the shadows is great, but I don't know why I bought this one. I never use it. I've used a couple of colours, but it's just too neutral. it doesn't inspire me when I look at it. Why did I buy it? I have no idea why I bought this. Well, that's not strictly true. The special got me because it was like, buy one and get the second half price. So I got this one for half price. But it still wasn't worth the money for half price because I never use it. But it's got some pretty colours in there, like that pink and that orange is pretty. But probably nothing that I don't already have elsewhere. I've hardly touched it. And I shouldn't have brought it. It was a waste of money for me. Why did I think I needed that palette? I don't know. Number 11. Do you have any palettes that you love all the shades in? I have more than one palette that I love all the shades in. So I tried to pick a palette that I haven't already mentioned. So actually I've got 4 Colourpop ones, not 3. So one of them that I thought of was the Main Squeeze palette. This one surprised me in a good way, and how much, I can't open it, and how much I enjoyed all the shades in here. They all worked really well and they all looked really nice on me, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that red eyeshadow was so nice. And another one that I like all the shades in is my Colourpop Sweet Talk palette. I like all the shades in there as well. You get the idea that I like warm shades. The Blush Tribe one would be in here too, but I've already mentioned it, so I'm not going to mention it again. Number 12. What palette do you regret missing out on? One you regret missing out on. There isn't really anything I think, oh, I really should have got that. Because I haven't been buying palettes that long, and especially from overseas or anything. So I've only been buying online recently. One that I keep looking for something similar, but I'm not going to buy it, is the Natasha Denona Gold palette. There's something about that turquoise colour and the gold scheme together that really appeals to me. And every time I see a palette that have those two colours, I go and swatch it and look at it. But I haven't found anything that really grabs me yet, and I'm thinking I probably just need to make my own. But I don't regret not buying it, because there's no way I want to spend that kind of money to get that palette here to me. So not really any that I regret buying. They're always bringing out new things, and I get excited by new things, and then the old things are less exciting. Number 13. One on your wish list. Well, you might be able to guess what this one is, because they've just brought it out. It's the orange Colourpop palette. Orange is my favourite colour. So, of course, I just got an order with the honey one and the moon one, the blue moon one. And as soon as I get that, they bring out the orange one. I was like, and now I want the orange one. So, that one's on my wish list. So I will wait until Colourpop have a few more things that I want, so that I can get enough stuff for free shipping, and then I'll probably be getting that one. Number 14. Your most recent palette you purchased. So my most recent palette that I've purchased was in Australia, because the honey one and the blue moon one I ordered before I went away. So the last one that I brought in Australia, as I brought 3 palettes while I was over there, was the Wednesday palette from Sports Girl, which looks like this. So look at that beautiful colour there. It has it has quite funny names, because it's very schoolgirly, high school, college kind of names. So this one here is called Naughty Corner, and they've got one like Ringleader, Track and Field, Drama Club, Spring Break, and stuff like that. So the names are quite funny to me, because they don't relate to me at all. But it had some beautiful pinks in there that I really thought was pretty. It smells nice too. Actually, I didn't notice that until just now. So that was my most recent purchase, which I haven't had a chance to use yet, but I will be very soon. And number 15 is the question that I have made up myself for this tag. So my question is, where do you see your palette collection going in the future? Now, until a couple of weeks ago, I probably would have said just growing. But I have ordered some colours, some eyeshadow from Classy Cake Cosmetics from Sandra, and I haven't got them yet. They're on the way, but they come in a magnetic palette, so essentially they'll act like singles even though they are all in one palette, because you can take them out, move them around, do whatever you want with them. And I've been thinking a lot about singles lately, and thinking, you know, when I want to do a certain coloured look, I have to go through all my palettes and try and find the colours that I want to do it, and I'll have 6 palettes on my desk and shuffling them around trying to find the colours I want to use. And I'm thinking more and more about possibly going into singles and making my own colour stories. So I don't know whether it's going to happen or not. I may end up doing some depotting. I have to buy some magnetic palettes first because I don't have any. But I'm thinking maybe going more the singles way and making my own colour stories for things. So we will see if that actually happens, but that's where I think I'm going. So that is the palette tag questions. With whatever it's going to be called. It's another palette tag, or evaluating my eyeshadow palette collection, smushed together to create one palette tag. Okay. So I hope that some more people will come and do this tag. So I'm going to name a few, and if I've missed you out, please feel free to do it anyway. So Brianna, I am tagging you from purple, pink, red, purple, red, hang on, wait. It's purple, pink, red. So Brianne, I tag you. You can do this one. This could be interesting because I don't know that you have that many palettes at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see your answers on that. I'd like to see Sandra from My Californian Life do this palette tag. And I'd like to see Nona from My Real Californian Life do this palette tag. And I'd like to see Kitty J Havoc do this palette tag. And I'd like to see Makeup Queenie 98 do this palette tag. And I'd like to see Vinyl Beauty Debbie do this palette tag. And I'm not going to mention anymore because I could be here for the next half hour naming people that I want to see do the palette tag. So if I haven't named you, then tag you're it if you're watching this and you have a YouTube channel. And even if you don't have a YouTube channel, it is interesting to look at your palettes in terms of questions like this, because it makes you really think about your collection and think about your future purchases and things. So even if you don't have a YouTube channel, take the time to have a look at your collection and go through the questions and see what your answers would be. So that is all from me today, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone.